What we do here is go back.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am StooDogg. Today we're here to talk about Jared Wars, Piss 4400, a man who has been in hiding, apparently, since about July of 2020. I still await his nauseating return, but I thought we could have a look at the man's past. A form of documentary. Who is this weird man? What made him the way he is? Well, I presume our story will have to start at the beginning. Sometime in the late 1980s, a baby was born. Baby Piss 4400. Probably screaming and crying and bawling his head off. You know, the sort of stuff that he does these days in his videos.
If at best!
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it would seem that in the years following on from this, he did state that he had spent time in the southern states of the US, naming Texas as one of them. So I'm not sure if he was maybe born there or maybe he grew up there, but in his younger formative years it would appear that his father was not in the picture. That's something which he divulges on his channel. He grew up without a dad. His dad being alive until only just recently. It would seem that in his younger years he was brought up by an aunt and his mother. I believe at one point he said that his aunt was claimed by cancer. But during his younger years he would sing to himself, speak to himself whilst in the bathroom, and his aunt and mother would listen to him as he talked to himself, stating that it was like there was a bunch of people in the room having a conversation.
I'm just speaking my mind. I always had. I did it. I did it in the bathtub when I was 11 years old. My mother would say, "Oh, you know," she would talk to my late aunt. You know, they used to talk a lot about me, and some of them I had recordings of it, and they'd be like, "Oh boy, that Jeremy is something else." Lord, that Jeremy. My aunt would say, "Lord, that Jeremy. He's sitting there talking in the bathroom." And you would think there's a more than you would think there's multiple people talking the way he's talking, and that's how I talk. And then my mother and my aunt, they would listen to me and they would think that I sound like a professor or a psychologist. I got so many useless videos. I think, you know, I'm going to be honest, I think all my videos are useless, even the things I'm doing now. But you know why I'm doing? Because I keep myself entertained. I talk to myself. My mother will tell you when I was taking a bath, when I was 11 and 10 years old, I would either pray or I talk to myself.
Moving on from this, it would seem that he did go to school, despite claiming that he never went to school. He seems to know a lot about school and kids at school, so you'd have to assume that he did go to school of some kind. Moving on up into the late 2000s, it would seem that young Jared Wars, Piss 4400, discovered the internet, and then a legend was born, stating that he would attend to forums on the internet to get answers to questions, to be chased off of these forums by the people who were already there, in what I can only assume would be Piss 4400 writing things out in the way he speaks, writing things out full of racial slurs and swearing, and then the moderators of the forums doing their jobs and removing him along with his posts.
And what the fuck am I? I'm just a fucking idiot talking through a goddamn motherfucking computer motherfucker. I'll say that the content of Jared Wars and this channel was not really, it's an anti-people channel. I guess you could say I'm not a people person. I don't even call myself the almighty truth. I just call the goddamn damn motherfucking truth.
It would seem that he also had a YouTube channel where he reviewed thrift store finds. Unfortunately, this channel has been lost to a deletion of some kind. But a lot of our information that we have at the moment comes from the Encyclopedia Dramatica. A theme amongst PIS 4400's content and actions is that he seems to have some form of an affinity for online pedophiles. At one point he gravitated towards a suspected online pedophile, Gorgeous George.
The only thing that was with me was just this George character.
A man who is apparently under investigation by the pedo finder general himself, Chris Hansen.
Maybe because your screen name is Gorgeous George Show Rules, okay? Why don't you just throw a 69 in there, Georgie? Chris Hansen here of Hansen vs. Predators, To Catch a Predator, and have a seat with Chris Hansen. George, now I'm going to need you to have a seat right over there.
Chris Hansen, I'm talking about Chris Hansen, the man that started a show back in 2015 in Beverly Hills, Hollywood, California, How to Catch a Predator. This man saying that I'm a rapist and saying that and talking about different stuff about me doing this.
You better clean up your act, George.
And I can clarify myself as similar or just really a loser, just like Gorgeous George, and I am, and I'm a loser just like Gorgeous George, and that's just the way it boils down to, and I'll continue to say that because it's not only the TGDMFT, but it's the TGDT, the goddamning truth. Because if you can't accept for what it is, because it is for what it is, then it's damning you motherfuckers. And it's damning the George, if at best, only if at best, to describe this mess. No other than the TGDT. No other than the TGDMFT and the TGDMT and every other MF in the scene. If at best.
As well as his interactions in the Jared Alpha Genesis community.
Just by dealing with this guy, Jared. I tried on my own to contact him on Facebook. I tried on my own to communicate to him verbally through videos.
You know what I'm saying?
At one point, PIS 4400 did have a channel called Pedo Lives Matter.
And in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I'm not saying it's a fact, I think that you compare me to one of the worst people in the world, like a Adolf Hitler or Saddam Hussein or Kim Jong-un type of character. Thank God I'm not one of them, because I wouldn't even live with myself if I did half of the stuff those people did. I wouldn't live with myself. I'm serious. And you know what? There's nothing wrong. Everybody has their problems, and I'm not gonna make fun of it. Everything you're saying is about comparing me to Adolf Hitler or something, the way y'all talking about me. I mean, damn. Or a Saddam Hussein kind of character. Like one of the worst people in the world. Like, call me Adolf, whatever the fuck. Adolf Piss or Adolf whatever.
So this has created this unusual framing of him. As for me personally, well, I only became aware of this man at the end of last year, the end of 2019, as I was doing a skimming of information about Jared Alpha Genesis, thinking that there are some things that I find to be generally interesting, things that I wanted to bring up on my channel. And I came across PIS 4400 and his lunacy. This earned him a small spot in the video that I'd made about Jared Alpha Genesis and the community that surrounds him. And then, following on from that, the rest is a documented history that you will find an entire playlist about on my channel. Ladies and gentlemen, the following is a potted history of Piss 4400 in his own words. I would be hesitant to interrupt him, as this would be a piece of history, but I think for this one we should just let the man speak, and I will only interject if there's a major fact that needs to be added in, if there's something which he misses out. This seems to be a thread with Piss 4400, is that he misses out a lot of details. Usually important ones. Usually details involving him being a prick.
Alright, this is Jared Wars again. This is very rough. I'm so used to being online as far as doing what I've been doing for so long. When I first had my YouTube channel in 2013, I never knew how to do videos, struggled how to do it. In fact, back in 2013, the resources for learning how to do a video were kind of limited for me, as it is to people. I wasn't getting the right kind of audience. I didn't know how. Primarily, I created my channel based on a game store called Play and Trade in my local area of Morristown, New Jersey. And I started off with an idea of doing these videos about this Play and Trade store because there was an incident that happened in April of 2013 where the manager that was there at that time, I had a troubleshoot problem with a issue of an item that I bought, and he said he was going to help me with the troubleshoot. Found out that he kind of cheated me out of my own time, helped some other customers, lied and said that he couldn't help me and had to go home, but yet spent 30 minutes on another customer when my situation my situation was easy in a way that all you had to do is check the item out to see if it was the game or the system. So I sat there for a half hour thinking, is this guy really leaving me out as a customer? I mean, I couldn't believe it because I had known them and they had known me, and I was kind of shocked. I sat there for about 15-20 minutes shocked. I kind of was thinking, well, maybe it's just maybe I'm over exaggerating, but at that time, there was it was a cashier guy. So I comes up to him. I says, "Hey, with this problem here, I bought this thing, and me and this manager, he was going to help me today, but he said he had to go." So he's like, saying he couldn't do it, but yet he wasn't doing nothing but sorting out stuff on the cash register. And I was a customer, for God's sake. And I had gave them games. I had trade stuff in. So when I realized that I was being fucked by these people, I got out of the store, and this character that was on the cash register, not the manager, but the manager was still there, believe it or not. This character, he was like smiling and laughing. I'm like, I just got up from the stool and had enough of it, and I told him to go fuck himself real loud. And I told all you guys, go fuck yourself. So that's where this guy ran up to me, and this character, this manager from the Play and Trade store, run up to me when he saw me saying that and walking out, telling me I'm not allowed to shop there, and I'm just like walking away from him, just like, I'm not listening to you, fuck you, was trying to, I was so angry, I wanted to punch this guy in the face. I was so angry. I just kept walking because he would tell me to wait up, and I told him I don't want to hear nothing, I just want to go. And then he was like insistent on me waiting. So as soon as he started saying I wasn't allowed to start walking. I just passed right by. I just like, fuck you, I'm thinking in my mind. So I would have said fuck you more, but I didn't want to make a scene because I was in a mall, the store. So as I was walking home, I had this idea of creating my first YouTube channel called Piss 4400. The name Piss 4400 was based upon how people were calling systems of the early 1980s, Atari 2600, Atari 50, how many Atari systems again? So I was pissed at these people, so I created the name Piss, and then the name 4400 was based upon, I guess, my own way or my own platform similar to an Atari, but it's not a video game platform, it's a platform expressing all things this store. So I would do videos about it, and the idea of creating Piss 4400 based on the Play and Trade thing was based solely upon basically learning how to get over people on the internet that would troll you, because the item that I paid for was $1. And so internet people, they tend to latch on to people like me, thinking, why the fuck would you make a big deal out of something that's $1? You know? And that was the one motivation of me creating this Piss 4400 channel. It was designed solely to basically allow to get the people to comment in a negative way, to get used to those comments, in the sense that I would have to learn how to build a backbone to deal with the internet. Because before I've had Piss 4400, before I even had trouble with Play and Trade the first time, at that time in April 2013, I was going through forums after forums, having people picking at me all for all kinds of things, spelling, reading, things like that. And I would get into fights with them. I would call them names. I would threaten them. I would do all kinds of stuff. It's just the best way to compare things in the circumstances then, before my first YouTube video-based channel, was more like how Gorgeous George argues and gets frustrated with people and making threats. I was doing all that stuff. Just like everything that George did, just about, not all, but just about everything George did, I kind of did. I was mocking people and their disabilities. I was saying, you're a fucking retard for picking at me and you can't even talk, ha ha, retard. This one character, I remember doing that too. So, but it was all just for standing up for myself, because what happens on the forums, people will ban you, and their moderators and their owner will be on the side of the people that are picking at you. And I only seen a few people in forums have went through the same thing. And so, I knew, I always wanted to do a YouTube channel, but I knew that if I was going to get successful, or if I wanted to be successful doing a YouTube channel, I would have to learn how to take those kind of people and take those kind of critics, the negative people, and people that on the internet at times could be cruel and very ignorant at best. So this Play and Trade, as I was walking home, a long walk from home, I just was at a park at that time, and I launched one of my model rockets that I built. I was launching rockets, but the problem is I had to stop because the people in this park would let their dogs run loose with no leash. So I'd be trying to launch a rocket, and the dog be coming after me before I even get done with the countdown. So I would have to bring my mace with me. Never had to use it, but I would tell these owners, I said, you gotta find a way to control that dog, or else I'm gonna have to spray him, because I don't want him coming after me. And these dogs were huge. I mean, they were huge. Some of them were mean, and then there are just some that are just gravitating to you. And I'm like, I don't want your dog jumping on me, ma'am or sir. Some would actually get offended when I say that, and I'm like, everybody deserves their space. The harassment I go through in the park is ridiculous. It's a large park, basically, and people are getting away with letting their dogs run around with no leash, which is against the law. So it's just crazy. So when I was walking, between coming from the park and then going to this Play and Trade, the park was like 3 hours to walk from home. It took me another hour and a half, about 3 hours, to walk back there to the mall and that. So as I was walking home, which was about an hour or maybe 20 minutes extra, so about 3 hours and 20 minutes total of my outing, I kind of thought about how this channel would plan out. Sure enough, when I had the name Piss 4400, I never thought that I would have accurate people. And guess what? The 90% of some of the people that were on this Play and Trade videos were folks that knew of people from the Play and Trade store. The reason I found that out, because at that time I would search the names of these people, wondering what the fuck they come from, and found out that, there was, between Google and Facebook, that these people were actually known. They known each other, So I would get these people commenting, saying stuff about how ridiculous it is that you're making a big deal of something that is $1 and man doesn't help you and it's not their fault and all this stuff. And at first it was sort of rough. It was sort of like how the forums would be. But then after a while I kind of got used to it. I went through some rough shit, I'm not gonna lie. And I got documents of it. I even got old videos of it on my hard drive. I went through some pretty fucked up shit in 2013 and 2014, and then the Play and Trade stuff kind of stopped at 2015. I always keep up with the updates of what was happening. So even when I wasn't allowed to go to the store, I knew there was another manager, because I would go to the mall and go to certain places that the mall used to have that the mall doesn't have no more. And I would pass by the store and would notice who's there on the cash register, who's not. So I would make guesses, So yeah, it was a weird trip. When I created Piss 4400, I've been through things that I never thought I would go through within the last 5, 6, 7 years. Out of all those years, I have never learned how to do a video in my life, which is so sad, you know? I was thinking about something that was on my mind. I said, here I am on YouTube, never known how to really done a video in my life. I'm kind of like really amazed. Now, all my videos wasn't black screens. I mean, I did not know about video encoders. I did not know about OBS. I did not know about live streams or whatever. I still kind of illiterate, but, you know, it was like later in 2016 that I've had met some people of the Gorgeous George trolling that actually gave me information that I didn't even know that I had the ability to do. So before, when I did videos, it was always, as you know, pictures of stuff around my room. I would get picked at about flowers, like, look at all these flowers you got on the walls. Oh, they're all gone now, but you know, they're all these. People would like say, "Oh, you're a faggot because you got these flowers on the wall, you fag." I'm like, okay, so. You know, by the time that I was getting that criticism, I was already used to just ignoring it and like, you know what, this is fucked up. Now I wasn't taking offense to it no more like I did when I was younger. Like when I was like 22 or 23 or whatever, I was like 21, 22, 23, I would take offense to that shit, but I'm not no more. So I just, you know, when people call me a faggot or something, I didn't care. I just let them do it. I laugh. I'll laugh at sometimes, you know. And long story short, here I am now in the year 2020, and there's nothing at all. Pathetic. So I am ashamed of myself for not really knowing how to do videos. But understanding the circumstances that 2013, there was limited information that I didn't know. I didn't even know how to do a video. I actually used to complain about how I did not know how to do a video and stuff like that. And one thing I did that I missed out on is that the incident of the play and trade situation, I wanted to sue the store just for $1. I used to get picked at about all the time, but I never could come up with the money to file a lawsuit, which is up in Mount Holly, New Jersey. I could never come up with a way to find out transportation in terms of basically arranging like to make it in court, because you know, if you're going to have a hearing, especially small claims court, you're going to have to be you got to be on time. I mean, these people, they don't care about how transportation is, you know. So next thing I knew, time went by. In 2017, the store closed down, which I was quite surprised because I thought they were doing better. But somebody did say that they might close down. And I was wondering why he was saying that. But yeah, that is the story of Piss 4400 to now. Thank you for watching.
Well, wasn't that absolutely and utterly endearingly charming? I think really the only things that we can say to that in response is that, yes, whilst under US law you can sue for, and this has been stated in a case as precedent, that you can sue for a literal peppercorn. So him spending $50 to go to court over $1 is something that is possible. He can actually do that. However, when he gets to court, he's not going to get that $1 back, because when he went to the store, he started shouting and swearing and told them all to fuck off and go fuck themselves. So he went back to try and get his issues sorted out, and he failed to get his issues sorted out because he's an impatient jerk. That would be brought up in court, he'd probably lose his case, and then he'd be countersued for wasting everybody's time and legal fees. As for the firing rockets at a park and wanting to mace dogs, that's maybe not the best of ways to do things. If anything, he should be... I don't know what the legality is of setting off fireworks randomly in a park, but I think this is something that he should be reserving for his own sort of private backyard in case something does go wrong, rather than doing it on public property that belongs to the city and everyone in it, and possibly causing damage there to it. Anyway, that's just a few more of my opinions on the madness that is Jared Wars. Well, I think that's about it for his origin story, so let's just we'll let him do the outro for us.
Fuck this goddamn shit y'all talk about. Fuck it. I speak the truth here. And I'm gonna do it until the fuck you put a bullet in my head or something happens. Whatever the fuck's on my mind, I haven't said this for a while. I put out the same way as the blood your bitch gets when you or somebody or something dead has a goddamn motherfucking period.